Can you please share your story?
I was deported from UK with my two British-born children to Nigeria in October 29, 1992. I'm living in an uncompleted house. You can see the ceiling. There is no ceiling at all. And some of the rooms, I use a flour sack to do ceiling. And there is no window per se. Look at the window.
Who do you think is responsible for the deportation?
My partner, the father of my two children, Mr. Babatope Olawumi.
Okay, so your children, they are British born, and you and them were deported back to Nigeria in 1992. And you're saying that their father, Mr. Babatope Olawumi, is the one that secretly is responsible for the deportation.
Yes, please.
Okay, let's go to the beginning of the story. Let's just start with you introducing yourself. Can you introduce your name and where you are based, please?
Yeah, my name is Florence Abiola Modupeola Oduleye. I am presently based in Osun State, in Nigeria.
Okay, Abiola, and when did you first arrive in the UK?
I got to the UK precisely 18th of August 1988 with a 6 months visitor's visa.
What happened when you arrived in the UK in 1988?
When I arrived, I was trying to regularize my visitor's visa to a student visa. So I met with one of my secondary school classmates, Morenike Olaide. So she introduced me to a school in East London that they could help me with my application, converting my visitor's visa to a student visa, because at that time it was very possible. So I went to the school, I paid £500 as deposit with the agreement that I was going to pay the rest by installment. So they collected my passport and they said I shouldn't worry, that they're going to handle it. So I left everything in their care. I went. So they now send the passport and a cover letter, an ordinary cover letter, to the Home Office without stating on what ground they wanted the Home Office to renew my visa for. You understand what I'm saying? So each time I kept asking them, I kept calling at the school to find out how far about my application. As the Home Office responded yet, they will say no, not yet. Not until a particular day when the education director just opened his drawer and said, "Oh, they got this letter 2 days ago. Thank God you were here." And they gave me the letter and my passport. And when I opened the letter, I read in there that the Home Office has rejected my application for extension for converting my visitor's passport to a student status. On the letter that the Home Office has written to the school, they said they did not specify on what basis, on what ground for the extension. So it got to my understanding that the government has not approved the school. So they could not do the normal thing, the needful accordingly. So, and knowing fully well that if I knew that they have not been approved, I must request for my for a refund. You understand what I'm saying? So
What's
they
the name
try
of
to
the
cover
school?
up. Sorry,
What
I
is the
can't
name?
remember now, but it's a popular, it's a school owned by Nigeria. At that time, they call it Babaro School
Where is the school
in East
located?
Dustin, around Dustin area.
After you found out that the school did not do what they promised to do for you, and you
Yeah,
have to refuse, what then
yeah.
happened?
So I collected my passport because the 14 days expiration for appeal has lapsed. So I collected my passport and I started squatting with my friend Morenike Olaide. We were squatting together in at Limehouse. I've forgotten the number, but it's in Southeast. It's in East London. East
Okay.
London. E5, I think E5 or something like that. So during my course of squatting with Morenike Olaide, I met a man, because it was a 3 bedroom flat, a shared apartment. I met a man called Mr. Babatope Olaomi, who proposed a relationship to me, a long-term relationship. And upon asking, though I initially rejected his proposal, because what was my top priority at that time was for me to have my legal documents with me. You understand? And upon interrogation, upon further finding things from him, he claimed to be a British born by birth, and he was into cab driving. And I thought to myself, for a man at that time to be driving a cab in the United Kingdom, definitely it must be true that he was actually a citizen by birth. So I consented, thinking that he's going to help me. Getting married to him will legalize my stay. But upon moving in with him, we started cohabiting. because eventually my friend Morenike Olaide moved out of the apartment to live with his fiancée, and I had to move in with him too upon his suggestion. You understand? So upon moving him with him, I realized that he was nicked by Metropolitan Police for drink driving, and a breathalyzer test was done on him. He failed, and they charged him to court. They fined him £500, and he was banned for 18 months from driving in the UK.
If you are watching this video, you have any story that you want to share with myself and the team, you can reach out to us on the WhatsApp number here, and we will always consider your story.
So he called me, he sat me down, he called me, he said, Biola, look, this is what has happened to me. So for the time being, until my ban lapses, you're going to step into the shoes of a breadwinner only for the 18 months period. I said, no problem, because it's supposed to be a marriage, it's supposed to be a long-term relationship. You understand? And it's supposed to be for better, for worse. So that was how I stepped into the shoes of a breadwinner. I was working early morning shift, early morning cleaning, full time as a catering assistant, evening cleaning. I combined the three employment together just for sustainability. You understand? And that was how we started, doing things together. But it got to a stage that I now thought to myself, because in between I was actually suffering a domestic violence from him. I suffered so many physical abuse that even at the time I had to, call in the Metropolitan Police at Elephant and Castle to intervene. You understand? They wanted to charge him to court. I eventually withdrew the charges. That I said, no, don't charge him to court, because it's people in Nigeria, they've not met me, I've not met them. They would think this is a bad woman that has sent the partner to a prison. So I said all I wanted from them was for them to ask him to go to the house, the council flat, which council has given to me at 131 Rodney Road in SC1. You understand that they should just tell him to write an undertaking and go to the flat, remove all his belongings 100 meters to the place. He should not move near the house, which he did, which Metropolitan Police did, and he also signed. But after that, I just realized that he came back with some of his friends, prostrating and begging, apologizing. And at that point, I was pregnant already. I think I've even given birth to my firstborn. You understand? But
If
before I gave birth to my, okay,
Before you gave that back to your first son, you
yeah,
said Mr. Babatokwe Olawumi tricked you to go to Italy. Can you tell the
yes,
audience about that story? Because he wanted to
yeah,
marry a friend in Nigeria.
yeah. Yes, while I was 3 months pregnant, he tricked me to go to Italy because he was having a sister in Italy by name Toyin Olawumi, Elizabeth Toyin Olawumi, who was residing with her fiancé in Italy then. And at that time, Italian government made an amnesty program that any Nigerian that wanted to reside permanently in Italy, they are ready to give them permanent residency. So he tricked me to go to Italy because of getting permanent, getting a Italian sojourner, that's the Italian resident permit, which I did. I went to Italy because not knowing that he wanted to date my friend, he wanted to marry my friend, and he had already planned with his sister Toyin Olawumi in Italy that I should be trapped in Italy while he processed the incoming of my friend, Miss Olanrewaju Babalola. She is late now. That while he processed the incoming of my friend to the UK, I should be trapped in Italy. I got hold of the plans and I decided to return to UK. So I returned to UK. Before I returned to UK, I stumbled on so many letters in form of communication between Toyin Olawumi and Mr. Babatope Olawumi, being blood brother and sister. I got hold of all the communication letters. I readdressed the letter and posted it to my brother's house in the UK.
So
Okay.
you didn't have papers in the UK. People will want to know, how was it possible for somebody that doesn't have stay in the UK to cross to Italy? How did you leave the country to go to Italy?
One of my friends facilitated my going with her own visitor's passport, British visitor's passport. It was a yellow cover, a yellow color passport to move within the EEC. One of my friends facilitated that. She assisted me with that, with her own passport.
Okay, so you
And
used that passport to cross to Italy, and
yes, yes,
plan
please.
your plan that time, you went to Italy because it was becoming very hard for you to get documents in the UK. You
In the
heard
UK, yes,
Italy was, they had amnesty for migrants, and you went to
yes.
Italy to get the document in Italy, and you later realized that Mr. Babatope was planning to marry your friend in Nigeria. That is why he encouraged you to leave the country. So tell the
Yes,
audience, how did you
yes.
how did you find that, and how did you return back? Be concise, please.
Okay. The method with which I found out about their plans was that one particular day, my supposed partner sister Toyin Olawumi usually goes to work, and even the fiance. So I was only the one left at home. I usually does the house cleaning, the house chores, and while I was cleaning their bedroom, that's the lady's bedroom and the husband's bedroom, I stumbled on letters in my partner's handwriting, and I sat down and I started reading it. That was how I discovered all their plans. So I packed all those letters and I readdressed it to my senior brother and posted it to my senior brother that those are evidences that I have gotten hold of their plans. You understand? So, and this was the reason why I insisted on going back to the UK. Though I have applied for resident permit in Italy and it has been granted, but it has not come out. You understand? I have done every processing. It was in their system already, only for it to be issued out at the time I left Italy. So that was how I came back to the UK. When I got to the UK, the sister has alerted the brother that I've already left Italy, and the brother knew there was no place I could be other than my senior brother's house. That's Mr. Victor Odule. So he came down, he traced me down to my brother's house at I think my brother was in somewhere in Finsbury Park at that time. He traced me down there. He saw me there. He came with his friends. They kept prostrating, apologizing. It was the work of the devil. I brought out the letters. I showed everything to him. He could not deny because he knew I was having the evidences with me. But he kept on apologizing and begging. It was the work of the devil. It was the work of the devil. You
Okay, hang on,
understand? And,
hang on.
okay.
When you came back from Italy, you were pregnant, right?
Yes. When
Okay,
I left the UK with his pregnancy, with the
okay,
child's pregnancy. I was about 3 months
okay,
pregnant when I left the UK for Italy. And by
okay,
the time I returned, the pregnancy was going. I spent just 1 month. The
okay,
pregnancy was about 4 months plus.
okay. And it's the same document that you used to leave the UK. That's the same document you used to come back, right?
Yes, it was the same document I used to come back.
Okay. So now, after you arrive in the UK, just tell the
Yeah.
audience, be concise, what then happened that led to your deportation to Nigeria?
Okay. Because like I said earlier on, that he said I have to have an understanding of stepping into the shoes of a breadwinner, pending the expiration of his 18 months ban, which I did. And even when the ban expires, when the 18 months lapsed, he never bothered to go back to regular employment. You understand? He has gotten used to that, staying home. You understand? So I kept on playing the role of a breadwinner until a particular day that the council flat that I was given at 131 Rodney Road.
How were you able to get a council flat when you did not have paper? Because a lot of people who did not understand what life was like back in the days, these are the questions that they will be asking. How were you able to get a council flat when you did not have paper in the country that time?
It was not difficult at that point in time. It wasn't difficult. You understand? They have compassion for women, and I'm a woman, so it wasn't difficult. I don't know what the situation is in right now. You understand? But then it was not difficult at all. As a For a woman to be given a council flat, I was actually given a bed and breakfast. That's a temporary accommodation for about 4 months before I was eventually given a council flat at 131 Rodney Road in SA1. You
Okay, so
understand?
what then happened when you were given a council flat? What then happened that led to your deportation? Because this is what people want to hear.
Okay. At that time, I've given birth to that child, to the pregnancy I was carrying. I've given birth to the boy. So we were still living together, cohabiting as a common law husband and
Your
wife.
boy's
You
name?
know,
What's your boy's name?
my boy's name is Oluwatimileyin Oluwatobi Olawumi.
Okay, that is the picture of Oluwatemi laying there. And then tell us what happened after the birth of your first son.
So I started experiencing domestic violence from him. You understand? It was so bad. It was so terrible. Upon me being the breadwinner, he would still beat me. He would chase after other women. He would spend my money for them. They thought he was rich. They never knew I was the one, providing for the house. You understand? It now got to a state that I have rent arrears. My rent as I've acquired so much rent arrears, and the council Sodok, borough of Sodok, they wrote a letter to me about concerning my rent arrears because
Sorry, sorry,
the
sorry,
okay,
sorry. I apologize for interjecting, but I'm trying to make sure this video is not very long. So
okay,
he promised you that he would get married to you and you will use that marriage to apply. When you started
yes,
living with him, what then
yeah.
happened to the promise that he made to you? Did he
He
get married
didn't
to you?
yeah, yeah, no, 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 no. He didn't fulfill the promise. I kept mounting pressures on him. He didn't fulfill the promise. He kept giving excuses. Not yet time. I should give him a little time. I should give him a little time. Not yet time. He kept on, he kept on procrastinating. You understand? He didn't meet up to it. He didn't do it.
So
He did,
lots
that
of
was when,
people, sorry, lots of people would be asking now, why
yeah,
did you remain in the relationship? The man promised to get married to you so that you can use the marriage to legalize your stay in the country. He didn't do it. He was beating
yeah,
you. Why
yeah.
did you still remain in the relationship?
Yeah, the reason why I remained in the relationship was because I was still hoping that one day he could still change his mind, he could still do it. I was still hopeful that he could still do it because somebody that could be involved in cab driving, if he doesn't have any legal backing, I don't think he will be issued a driver's license, not to talk of him being charged into court and being fined, and he still came out without any immigration issue. You understand what I'm saying? I was still a bit, I still have the belief a bit that he's a British citizen according to what he told me. You
Okay,
understand?
okay. So when you went to register your first child, where did you
Yeah.
register your first child and what did he put in the birth certificate? Be concise, please.
We registered the first bat at Southeast London, bat registry at Southeast London, and he wrote on his document on the registration, he wrote place of birth Hackney, while I
So he
wrote place of birth Nigeria.
so he wrote that he was born in Hackney.
Yes,
Okay, that's fine. So that assured you that this man
yeah,
is genuinely a British citizen.
yes, please.
Okay, so then what then now led to your deportation to Nigeria, and why do you think that he is the one that secretly is responsible for your deportation?
Okay. So when there was already a child on ground, after 2 years, 2 years plus, it just suddenly came. He came into the house one day and said, "My friends that we gave birth to a child at the same time with that my son, they've gotten addition. You understand that the boy is overdue for for a sister or for a brother." I said no because I was bent on stopping the production of a child that is only that one for the time being until he does what I wanted him to do. You understand? So suddenly that particular day, I had prepared because I knew it meant something. So I had so much prepared that he was not going to have his way. I was having a double nightgown, double pajamas, that can just to prevent him from having having my carnal knowledge. But he struggled with me. He used the scissors to cut everything and he had his way. And that now resulted into the pregnancy of the second child. And I was bent on evacuating the pregnancy because I don't want extra problem in addition to the one that is in existence already. I went to my doctor. That I don't know if the doctor is still alive, though I eventually met the doctor in Nigeria when I came to Nigeria. He's a Nigerian, he's Dr. Ayodele. There is an health center at close to East Street Market. There is a health facility close to East Street Market, and that Dr. Ayodele was posted there as a GP. And so he was my GP, personal GP at that time. I went to the doctor, I liaised with him that this is what is happening, this is my situation. I want to evacuate the pregnancy. My man went to the doctor to threaten him. If he dares do any evacuation for me, he's going to sue him, he's going to make sure they confiscate his license. And the doctor later got back to me, look, he cannot do it. I should just leave the pregnancy. That was how the existence of the second child came in. You understand? And along the line, I have now realized that he was not ready to do any marriage with me for me to have my documents. I started looking for alternative. I have a brother, Mr. Victor Ojuleye, who is a British born as well. I called my brother, look, brother, what is the next step? This is my situation. I don't have any savings. All the money the job I was doing, he was the one collecting the money, was the one spending money. He has a copy of my bank ATM card. He was the one withdrawing. He will withdraw, will spend anyhow. That kind of a thing. So my brother now suggested that he has a friend who is also a Briton by birth, like himself, that I should give him time to talk to him if he could marry me so that I could have my papers right. I said, okay, no problem. And at that point in time, I have remember I said I have rent arrears with the Borough of Sodok Council. You understand? And they when they invited me, because they wanted to give me an eviction notice and they invited me for an interview, I told them this is my condition. They came to the house, they inspected the house, they realized that I'm the only one living alone, because at that time we have parted ways, he has moved out of my house. So they now advised me that they cannot except I apply for housing benefits. And upon going there, they gave me an application form for housing benefit. I filled in the form, I submitted the form. They considered me for housing benefit on the condition that I have to apply for income support first, which I did. They asked me, they directed me to Social Security Office at Elephant and Castle. I went there, they gave me application for income support. I collected the form, I filled the form, I submitted. They called me for an interview.
If you are watching this video, you have any story that you want to share with myself and the team, you can reach out to us on the WhatsApp number here and we will always consider your story.
When they called me for an interview, they started asking me series of questions that led to my status, to my immigration status. You understand? And they called the immigration. The immigration, they had none of my record. They don't have my record with them. So they now asked me, how did I enter? I told them everything. And that was how I entered into another problem. I entered into another problem with immigration. You understand? So they detained me. When they detained me, I was carrying my second pregnancy that time. When they detained me for some hours because of what the law says, they cannot keep me in there for more than 24 hours. After a few hours, they left me off the hook with a letter that I must be coming to the house, to a particular immigration house at Elephant and Castle every week to sign. You understand? So I was going there every week to sign. So pending at the time I was signing was when my brother connected me with the city with Mr. Bangboshe, um, a half Nigerian and half Briton. You understand? So the man has agreed to marry me for me to have my papers right. So, but it happens that the man has married somebody else about 8 years prior to that time, and that woman has relocated to the US without them divorcing. You understand? So upon discovering that, we had to get the services of a solicitor. So I went to a solicitor's office at Streatham. The solicitor is Barrister Alagaraja. I think he's half Indian, half Briton. So I went to him. He counseled us. He said there is a solution pending the time that we could do anything, that he has to fight for decree absolute and decree nisi for that Mr. Bangboshe. You understand? But pending the time, we should go and do an engagement. We should do engagement party. We should publicize it in the dailies, in about 2 dailies, national dailies. We did it because the man is based in Manchester. I had to travel from London to Manchester. We did the engagement. But before I left, I had to inform Mr. Babatope Olaume, being the father of my children, for him to know what I was about to do. I informed him. He knew about everything. We went to Manchester. We did the engagement. We cover everything. I sent a copy of the advertisement to Barrister Lagaraja at Streatham. He collected. He said, "Fine, he will work on that. That with that, he can stand for me with that, pending the outcome, the issuance of the decree nisi and decree absolute for Mr. Bangboshe." But unfortunately, there was a particular day that Mr. Babatope Olaume came to my house, because at that time they've given me, the existence of the second child has surfaced now. So they have given me a bigger apartment at 22 Medford Court and Crawshaw Court in Southeast London. That's SC22. They've given me two-bedroom flat because of there were two children involved now. But the second one was still a baby. I think she was about 2 months plus. Her name is Oluwaseyi Oludara Olaume. Then the solicitors, everything, we have done everything right with the knowledge of Mr. Babatope Olaume. And because it was a new apartment, I had no dime to furnish the apartment. I had to apply for grants, for housing grants. housing furniture grant, and they consider me being on an income support. So they gave me housing grant of £800. The check was dropped by the postmaster, and it was this particular man that picked up the check in my apartment, because he had access to my house. He has the spare key to my flat. You understand? Because of the children involved, though we're not living together again, but he comes to my house anytime he wants to come. He has the copy of the house key. So he picked the check, and he knew there was a certain amount coming that has came in for me. You understand? Then he now told me that he had a dream. He had a dream that I got deported from UK to Nigeria all of a sudden, that he would advise I move out of the house to join him again in his apartment. Then that time, because before I kept things to myself, not even my senior brother knew that he was abusing me physically. But when it got to a stage, I started voicing out. I told my friends who are more experienced and who have been in the UK before me, and they started giving me counsel. So I now called some of my friends that they've been intimated about the situation already. This is what this man came up with. They said, "Don't go. You knew him well enough that it is your money that he is after. He knew that they've given you grant money, you understand, and he wants to play smart with you. Don't forget that you have two children now. The kind of employment you could engage yourself in when it was just one child is different from the one you can do now with two children, because you have to pay for nanny. You're a daily minder. You understand what I'm saying? Don't mind him. Don't move in with him. Tell him you are fine living with your children the way you are." So I told him the same thing. He came again the second time again with the same dream. That has been the second time that he has dreamt the dream. Then he came again the third time. Is the third time he has dreamt the dream. I insisted on not moving anywhere. You understand? Until early in the morning on one day around 5:36 a.m., I just had a knock at my door. I went, I peeped, I saw Metropolitan Police officers, I saw another woman in mufti. You understand? I opened the door. They said, "Are you so? Are you Florence Abiola or Modupe?" I said, "Yes." They handed me a letter written with a stamp, HM, that's Her Majesty, on Her Majesty's. I opened the envelope, I read the letter. The letter read that I must leave the UK immediately that particular day. You understand? I was so much destabilized. I had a land phone. I quickly called my solicitor, barrister, lawyer, Alagaraja. I called him. I said, "This is what is happening to me. They are right inside my apartment right now." Then he said I should give them the phone. They argued on the phone for over 40 minutes that they couldn't deport me. It's not done. They argued for long. But when the argument became eventually futile, the solicitor told me that, "Florence, don't worry. Go with them. I will meet you. I will meet up with you there. You are not going anywhere. I will meet up with you." Not knowing that that particular time that they came to me, they've gone to the man's house in Manchester. And the only person that knew the address of the man was Mr. Babatope Olawumi. That was the father of my children. Police officers have gone to his house in Manchester. They've arrested him as well without telling him the crime or the offense he has committed. You understand? They kept him detained. They detained him so that he could not stand for me. He couldn't fight. He won't be able to fight for me. You understand? So I never knew all these things until when I got to Nigeria. I followed them to the police station because they had to do the processing at the nearby police station first before they took me to the airport, this and that. You understand? Then this my partner, Mr. Batope, came. I handed over the keys to my apartment. He was having his own copy. I also handed the second key to him. Even my brother came as well. My senior brother came up as well. My brother wanted to collect my two children from me. But I thought to myself, leaving those children, the first one was just 2 years and few months old. The second one was just three months old. You understand? I don't want to separate them, and I don't want to hand them over because I don't want them to be brainwashed by their father, because eventually it will tell them a wrong story. And you know, children raised in UK, it is whatever they have programmed inside their brain that they will grow up with. And I don't want things of such, especially when the youngest one was just 3 months old. You understand? So I said, "No, let me go. Let me go home with the two children." You know.
Wait. Did
Okay.
Mr. Babatokpe Olawumi, who is the biological father of the two children, did he
Yeah.
offer to care for his children when you and them were being deported back to Nigeria?
He wanted to collect the children from me too. I said no. I didn't release the children.
Only Mr. Babatope Olawumi knew the address of the lawyer in Manchester.
Eh, no,
So,
the man that wanted to marry me in Manchester.
okay. So you
Yes, he was the only one that knew the address, apart from my brother that accompanied me to the engagement party.
you were deported back to Nigeria in
Yeah.
1992 October,
Yes,
and
October
when
29,
you were
1992.
deported, what did
Yeah.
Mr. Babatope Olawumi said to you and the people that knew you when he heard that you have been deported?
In fact, when I was going, because I was so much destabilized, all where I kept this my storage room that I kept traveling bags that I could pack my things with, I was completely destabilized. I was traumatized. I couldn't even pick anything. You understand? He assured me at the police station that don't worry, go. Within the next 7 days, I will cargo all your things to you. If tomorrow he will do that, I wouldn't know. And when I left, he started make mockery of me, making jest of me to my friends. Wherever he meets my friends, he will tell them, have you heard they have deported your friends? Have you heard that your friends has been in Nigeria? She has been deported. You understand? So this was how I knew that he had a hand in in all that has happened. Apart from what my solicitor, because upon deportation, they gave me an appeal form to fill upon getting to Nigeria. And I got my lawyer. My family lawyer was late barrister, uh, no, uh, I remember his name now. He's also late now. He was a son. He's also late now. You understand? So we
Okay.
got to the barrister's office. We explained everything with my daddy. We handed over the letter, the appeal form to them, to the man. If he read everything, he took up the appeal application. He told them that they shouldn't have deported me with the two kids, knowing fully well that I have legal residential permit from Italy. If at all they have to deport me, they should have deported me back to Italy. You
Okay.
understand?
Okay. So that the audience understands the story very well. So when that
Yes,
time
I
when
remember. I remember the lawyer's name now. Abraham Adesanya, late Abraham Adesanya.
oh, the leader of Afenifere before.
Yes, he was my family solicitor at that time. Yes,
Okay, that is Pa Abraham Adesoya, who
Adesanya. Yes,
was the deputy leader of NADECO, National
yes,
Democratic Coalition, before. May he so rest in peace. He was a good man. I know I follow Abraham Adesoya very well. So
yeah,
so so you went to Italy to because you heard that Italy was granting amnesty to immigrant, and you
yes,
got
please.
Italian sojourner, which is Italian stay, right?
Yes,
So which
yes,
means that they should have deported you to Italy rather than Nigeria.
yes,
That was that
yes,
was that was what you appealed when you get to Nigeria. So what was the
yes,
outcome of
please. Sorry.
what did they tell you about the appeal? When you appeal, what did they tell you?
Yeah, when Home Office replied Abraham Adesanya, they told him that they acted upon a tip off from a very close relative of mine. You understand? And there wouldn't have been any close relative of mine that could have given them information about me that will lead to even them arresting the other man in Manchester, if not Mr. Abatope Olawumi. Because my blood brother that initiated the idea wouldn't have done that.
Okay,
You understand? So
okay,
there and then we knew that it was Abatope Olawumi that did it. You
okay.
understand what I'm saying? So
So sorry, let me ask you: do you believe that Mr. Babatope Olawumi raped you as well?
sorry?
You said Mr. Babatope Olawumi forced you, used scissors to cut your clothes when he came to your.
Yes,
So
yes,
are you
yes.
saying that he raped you?
Yes, it was a rape because it was not with my consent. He used
Okay,
scissors to cut all the pajamas, all my nightgown, everything, including my panties, before he had his way. And that was what resulted into the pregnancy of the second child.
okay. And you also told me that the Metropolitan Police wanted to charge Mr. Babatunde Olawumi, and you tell them no, I don't want them to
Yes,
charge.
yes, yes.
Okay, so
Because
how?
he assaulted me physically and he gave me head boot. I sustained injury on my forehead. Blood was gushing out. And when I called emergency services, they came with ambulance and the police and they saw everything. They had to rush me to the nearby, they even rushed me to St. Guy's Hospital, where I eventually had the baby. because that was the
Okay.
nearest hospital to the apartment Borough of Sodok has given to me at that point in time.
Okay. So how were you able to receive income and housing benefit when you were not a resident in the UK? You were not legally resident.
They eventually consider me.
Okay,
They
okay, okay.
eventually consider me as a single parent.
Okay, okay, that's fine. I just these are the questions that a lot of people will want to know. So
Yeah.
arrived in Nigeria, the appeal was refused, and you were informed that someone very close to you was the one that gave the Home Office information about the marriage being arranged marriage. So what then
Yeah.
happened? What then happened when you arrived in Nigeria?
When I arrived in Nigeria, he has a cousin of his that he has been sending to my parents prior to the time I came to Nigeria with the children. My parents knew the boy, the man. His name is Mr. Adebisi, Mr. Sunday Adebisi. He is popular known as Aiku. You understand? So he has already informed the man that I was in Nigeria with the children. So the man came to my father's house at Ogba Ijaye in Lagos. So when he got there, he met me one on one. He saw the children. He went back to his parents in Nigeria, in Osun State. He told them that it is true we have arrived in Nigeria with the children. So his parents, came down to my from Osun State to Lagos to my parents' house in Lagos. They came to for reconciliation ceremony. You understand? They came to beg my parents.
If you are watching this video, you have any story that you want to share with myself and the team, you can reach out to us on the WhatsApp number here, and we will always consider your story. So,
Okay.
when you came to Nigeria, you said Mr. Babatope Olawumi asked you to give him the details of the bank, the money that you have in your bank in the UK, for you to give him the
Yes.
share more light on that.
Yes, actually, my income support was being paid into my Woolish account. I have a Woolish account at Peckham Rye. You understand? And he knew quite well that both the children's child benefit, the single parent benefit, and the income support was being paid into my Woolish account. So he knew I was having a lump sum of money in my account. He now sent a letter to me in Nigeria with a form, with a Woolish bank form, that I should claim that I have misplaced my ATM card, because fortunately for me, one of the handbag I took with me had my ATM card in it. So he has searched my apartment, he couldn't find my ATM card. You understand? So that was the reason why he took that move. He said I should claim that I have misplaced my ATM card, so that they will send I should fill the form and send it back to him, so that they will send another ATM card to my house, and he'll be able to pick it and collect and empty my account. But knowing fully well the kind of person he is, I refuse. I didn't. I still have a copy of the letter with me till today.
So did he not even he didn't even ask of his children. He wanted to be able to collect the money that you have in your bank account.
Yes. Then at a time, he contacted his parents in Nigeria to come to Lagos to come and collect the children from me. You understand? And I refused. Then
Okay, okay,
eventually, after, okay,
okay. I'm just mindful of this video being too long. So let's just not
okay,
talk about the
okay.
children. You said they are born in the UK by
Yes,
the
please.
Nationality Act of 1983. A,
Yeah.
uh, a child whose one of the parents is British, the child automatically acquires British citizen. So you
Yeah.
now, your children, how is life for them right now?
It has been very, very hectic, very, very rough. It has not been easy. My first graduated from University of Ilorin with 2-1. He is an exceptionally brilliant student with 2-1. Up till now, he's still unemployed.
Which year did he
And he's
graduate?
36 years. Yes, in 2015 with 2-1. Up
So
till
from
now, he
2015 till now, he still hasn't got a job.
no job. You
What did what
understand?
what did he study? Because I mean,
He studied geography and environmental management, and he graduated with 2-1.
okay.
Geography and management from University of Ilorin.
Okay, if
You
anybody is
understand?
watching this video, you want to reach out to this young man who graduated in 2015 2-1, you want to speak to him and you have any job for him, you can reach out to me. I'll put in contact with them. So, what about your daughter?
My daughter is 34 years of age. She graduated from Osun State University, and she has BSc in linguistics and communication arts. You understand? It took a while before she suffered a lot. You know the system in Nigeria. If you don't know anybody, if you are not ready to sleep with them, they will not give you any position. She too suffered a lot. She suffered a lot. It was just of recent that she secured a job that she's
Okay.
managing with.
Okay. She told me, I spoke with your daughter, she earns less than £45 a month. That is what she,
Yeah,
about £50 to £50 a month. That's what she earns as a graduate. Again, if there's
yeah.
anyone that wants to speak to this young girl regarding job situation, you can reach out to me. I'll put you in contact with them. So right now, you are saying that you would like your children who are British born, and they may have claim to British passport if their father was British by the time they were born. What have they done for them to try return back to the UK?
They have applied several times to the Home Office for British passport. They've spent millions of money, millions of naira, yet they were refused, they were rejected because they kept asking for their father's passport and they had no access to it. You understand? So that is the situation of things on ground.
So you think that the only thing that is keeping them in Nigeria is Mr. Babatunde Olawumi giving his
Babatokpe,
Babatunde Olawumi giving his passport number to the children for them to apply to come to the UK?
yes please, yes please, because that was what the Home Office kept using as excuses. Submit your father's passport. Upon seeing on their birth certificate that his place of birth was Hackney, which makes him automatically a Briton by birth.
Okay. And you yourself, since you came to Nigeria in 1992, I understand you have made several moves to try to leave the country again. Where have you been?
Yes, I have traveled a lot to so many countries. I've traveled to Gambia. I spent 6 years in Gambia, hoping that from Gambia I could secure European visa. When I left Gambia, I went to Cairo. I went to Saudi Arabia. I went to Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan was my last point of call, and that was in 2010 through 2011. That I eventually came back home.
And how has life been for you now, Abiola?
It has been very, very tough. I cannot deceive you. It has been very, very tough. It has been very, very tough. I have suffered a lot in my life. I have suffered. I have suffered. I've, if not for God, I would have been depressed. But it is through the grace of God that I'm still sound mentally.
Where do you live now? Where are you living right now?
I'm in a village in Ede. I'm in a village after Ede, just about 5 kilometers away from Ede. They call the village Iragberi. That is where I am presently residing.
Can you show the audience your house where you live so that they can see where you live? Just show the camera, let people see where you live.
I'm living in an uncompleted house. You can see the ceiling. There is no ceiling at all. And some of the rooms, I use a flour sack to do ceiling. And there is no window per se. Look at the window, it's just burglary. And I'm being surrounded by bushes because it's a thick bush. You can see the burglary.
Yes, I can see it.
You can see the ceiling. There is no ceiling. And where there is a ceiling, it is a flour sack that I put in there.
So when you now look back at your life, you made the move to leave Nigeria in 1988, and
Yes, please.
where you are today,
Yeah.
what do you
Ah,
think, if you can look back, what do you think are the mistakes that you've made? And before we say that, if there is anyone who is watching this video now, you can see this woman's situation. She has done everything to try to better her life, but unfortunately, she has encountered the storm of life along the way. If anyone wants to support this woman, nothing is too small. Her bank details is what you're seeing on the screen. I am not collecting any money from her. I haven't charged her any money to bring her on my platform. This is purely for humanity. If you want to support this woman, this is her bank details. You can send whatever you want to give her out of your own free will. Nothing is too small. Whatever you give would be greatly appreciated, and the Almighty God would reward you whatever you do for this woman in her hour of need. So, Biola, looking
yes,
back
please.
the whole thing with your experience with Mr. Babatokwe Olawumi, what would you
Yeah.
say are mistake that you made that for any young woman who is watching you now, for them not to make? If you can relive everything, what would you say are the mistake that you made?
The mistake I made was I trust wholeheartedly. I trusted him wholeheartedly. I believed him wholeheartedly. I never believed he tell lies because that was what he made me to believe. That he doesn't tell lies. Anything he tells me is the truth and nothing but the truth. You understand? So that was the major mistake I made. I relied on his words, and eventually I realized that it was a complete fallacy. It was full of lies, bundles of lies. You understand what I'm saying? So that was a major mistake I made. Trusting in him, believing whatever he says. You understand what I'm saying? And it didn't even affect only me, it affected my parents too. Because my father was coming to UK at that time as well. My father too was in UK for a while. My father studied in UK with my mother in the 50s. You understand? So he had access to come to the UK. During the time I was passing through all those hectic, all those traumatic era, my father witnessed a lot of it. You understand? But he made us believe that whatever he says was the truth. And most times that I got to a stage that I would say, I'm tired of this, I'm tired. My father will keep on telling me, no, you cannot go back at this point in time. Warausile in Yoruba, he will say, Warausile nini, ole dola kowa. He is handicapped financially today. That does not stop him, that does not make him a complete nuisance in future. That is what it means in English. You understand that we should keep our fingers crossed and see what is going to do, see what is going to happen, not until it got to the stage that it has degenerated into.
And you said his family were against him marrying you because you are Egba and he comes from Oshu State.
Yes, that is their norm. That is the norm in Osun State. Most of Osun people, especially those from Odrotin, Hazis, you understand. Or let me make it a general issue. It's most of people from Osun in those days they kick against an Osun man getting married to a Egba woman. I'm from Ogun State. I'm from Abeokuta. Though I was born and bred in Lagos, you understand, but I'm from Abeokuta because that is where my parents originated from. You understand what I'm saying? So they believed if their son got married to an Egba woman, she will completely take over the life of the man. The man will not look back again to his responsibilities, to discharging his responsibilities to his people, to his parents. If he wanted to build house, he will go and build house in Egba land instead of building house in his native land. You
Okay.
understand?
Okay. So personally, that is why I believe that those who advocate for the breakup of Nigeria into different nationality tribe won't solve Nigerian problem, because you can see now that even within the Egbas and the people from Osun State, there is still discrimination. So that is why I am for one Nigeria that works for everyone. But we have problem, we can address those issues. So if you are watching this video, you have any story that you want to share with myself and the team, you can WhatsApp us you can reach out to us on the WhatsApp number here, and we will always consider your story. This is a very touching and moving story. If you see any value in this content, you can support this channel by giving it a like, share so that other people can learn. I'm sure if Abiola had watched a video like this before she met Mr. Babatunde Olawumi, she might not have made the mistake that she made, which she's now regretting today. Don't forget to give it a like and share. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so, and WhatsApp us if you have any story that you want to share with us. So that is the end of this podcast.